A big thanks to Bernhard for sponsoring this episode.
Hey, welcome to a new episode. I'm Pitmaster X and today I'm going to show you the difference between smoked beef ribs with and without the membrane. But before we're going to dive into that, I want to tell you about our website. You can find everything barbecue on our website, pitmasterx.com, so go check it out after the video. For this experiment, I got these beautiful Wagyu beef ribs. Look at that intramuscular fat, that's just insane. Absolutely crazy. And that intramuscular fat is going to make sure we're going to get juicy and tender ribs. So I'm totally not worried about the end result. The only thing that I'm worried about is, should I take off this membrane or should I leave it on? And if I take it off, what's going to happen then? And the first step is to clean up these beef ribs. I'm going to trim off all of the silver skin and the fat that sits on top of these beef ribs. All of the fat and silver skin that is laying underneath the meat we're going to leave on, otherwise we're just cutting up the whole beef rib. Once that's done, I'm going to work on the bottom of one of the beef ribs. I'm going to take off all of the silver skin. And now you see the difference between a beef rib without the membrane and with the membrane. Bones are still solid attached, but that big silver skin is completely gone. With that out of the way, it's time to start putting some flavor on. Let's build her up. I'm going to start with 1 part salt. I'm using fleur de sel salt. Then I'm adding 1 part ground black pepper, half a part onion powder, a 1/4 part garlic powder, and I'm finishing off with 1 part dried parsley. Now mix that up and then shake it onto our beautiful Wagyu beef ribs. And once these beef ribs are all dusted up, it's time to fire up our Bernhard smoker. Time to put these beautiful beef ribs on and just look at that crust that we're already built up. That parsley, the salt, the coarse pepper is going to build up into a beautiful crunchy crust. Of course, I'm going to put my meter thermometer in just to make sure that I know at every point in time what the core temperature is on these beef ribs. Now I'm looking for a core temperature of 92 degrees Celsius and temperature. So there we go, first one in. I'm going to let these smoke at a temperature of 140 degrees Celsius. And of course, we gotta treat our beef ribs properly, so I'm gonna make a really tasty spray. And the base for this spray is gonna be a whiskey. I'm using around 100 milliliters. To that, I'm going to add 50 milliliters of sweet balsamic vinegar, 50 milliliters of maple syrup, 2 tablespoons of Worcester sauce, and 1 teaspoon of Tabasco hot sauce, and 200 milliliters of water. Screw the cap back on, put some pressure on, and do the quick taste test. I instantly see a clear difference between the ribs that be cooking with the membrane and the ones without. Look, this is with the membrane and this is without the membrane. So no way the bones are still attached or like just it shreds off. So basically that's the biggest difference between having the membrane on with beef ribs and letting them off. So if you're looking for a connected bone, stick with the membrane. Now let's go deeper into this because there's not only the bone sticking to it, there's also juiciness and tenderness, and does it protect from the heat that's coming from below? So we gotta figure this out. We're gonna compare the ones without the membrane to the ones that were with the membrane. Let me chop this up. They are super juicy, by the way. We got a beautiful smoke ring from that Wagyu. It's insane. Good bark as well. And having that dried stuff on top, that dried parsley, that really helps with the bark. It's really nice and firmed up. So definitely recommend going for this rub when you're doing beef ribs.
Honestly, I can't tell the difference. They look both gorgeous to me, and they both look like beef ribs to me.
First I'm gonna go for the beef rib where we took off the membrane. Juicy, tender, nice flavor, good stuff.
This is, I already forgot. Roel, what is this? Met with? With the membrane.
No difference. There is absolutely no difference. Like, it tastes the same because we got the same bark. It's juicy. I don't taste any difference.
Not a lot of difference, except for the whole bone situation. But I might be fooling myself, but there might be a little change in texture. This one seems a little bit tougher, but it's so minimal that I kind of doubt myself on it.
The only thing that that membrane is going to do is it's going to keep the bones together. That's basically it. But if you cut it off, if you cut the meat off from the top, then all the rest is gone. Now, of course, it's still there and we could try and eat it. Well, I don't recommend it. It's still tough and chewy and dry.
If you want to keep the bones on, then leave that membrane on. That's it. That's the whole experiment. I think that's all you need to know about this. And for the rest, you need to get a really good wrap on it. And you can find one on the website. Right?
Right.